your engine! Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
And the driver who started the weekend saying, this is our worst track, is going to victory lane in Dover. Tony Stewart wins the FedEx 400 benefiting Autism Speak.
James Busher, after changing a carburetor, coming through the triangle, James Busher will win in Chicago.
The closer, Kevin Harvick wins Richmond.
Elliott Sadler is going to win the STP 300 in Chicagoland.
He moves to the inside. Kyle Larson's going to win at Rockingham.
For Tony Kanaan, the 12th time is the charm at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Twin Checkers Way. TK has won the 2013 500.
James Hinchcliffe is a winner again.
Nico Rosberg has done it. Rosberg wins the British Grand Prix.
The fastest hour in radio with Steve West and Dustin Harmer on Superstation 101 WYDE.
Welcome in and good Saturday morning. If you're listening to the first airing of this, could be Saturday evening, could be Sunday morning, late Sunday morning. I don't know which one you're listening to. Either way, welcome to the weekend. It is the fastest hour in radio. I am one of the hosts, Steve West. My co-host, Dustin Harmer. How are you, sir?
I'm not tired anymore.
No?
No.
After the hour of the fastest, from the Entertainment Roundtable into the fastest hour, you're now awake?
I'm wide awake thinking about Bane now.
Bane sings Elton John.
Did you see Bane in NASCAR?
Yeah. Oh, wow. That would be interesting. Well, history was made, not by Bane, over the past weekend. Plus, we crowned we gave three championships away, technically. One driver. We'll deal with that. First, though, it's so sad that the history that was made on Saturday was overshadowed by the ugliness of what happened during the race.
Just a touch.
All right, let's start off with the good. The history that was made in the Camping World Truck Series when it rolled to the checkered flag at Martinsville Speedway 1 week ago today, if you're listening on Saturday. For the first time in 50 years, a black driver's won a NASCAR Major Touring Series race. Darrell Bubba Wallace Jr. from Mobile rolled to the win. He led a race-high 96 laps as well. He took the lead for good with 50 laps to go and just cruised on to the win. You want to talk about a big gap at Martinsville. I mean, he came off turn 4, and he hit the start-finish line before second place came off turn 4. That's a huge gap.
Especially at Martinsville.
Martinsville, a half-mile paperclip. So he just dominated the whole thing. It's the first win for him this year in this series. I believe that's what I'm getting. That's his first win of the year. Yeah. His first win in this series.
Yes.
Although he's won in the K&N East.
He won in
series,
the K&N, yes. He did win in the
K&N Pro or K&N
Pro
East?
Series.
Pro Series, okay. So he's won in NASCAR. It's just at a lower level.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, this is how historic this is. He's only the second black driver to ever win a NASCAR-sanctioned race at the upper level. 1963, Jacksonville Speedway, a dirt track. Wendell Scott got his one and only career win. And it's not a great film, but it's a good film. Richard Pryor, Grease Lightning, came out early to mid-'70s. It kind of details that. I cannot say enough about this. Number one, it's about dang time. Number two, congratulations to Darrell, because now we've got an Alabama driver who looks like he's going to start making a name for himself in NASCAR. It's something we haven't seen since the Allisons retired, and unfortunately Davey passed away.
Right, and that's the thing. We've been talking about this all year, waiting for him to get his chance, for everything to fall right. It looked like it was going to fall right for him earlier this year at Dover, and then the left rear spring came out and just totally messed his truck up. But he really capitalized this past weekend, and finally went out and did what we knew he could do and would do at some point.
Yeah,
we knew it was going to happen this season. We were hoping, but it was kind of looking out at the schedule. Oh man, it's getting kind of close.
Time's running out, man. Clock's ticking.
Boom.
He's able to pull it off. Very popular, very historic win by Wallace, marred, however, by a late race incident between Cup Series moonlighter Kevin Harvick and Ty Dillon. Dillon got into the back of Harvick's truck late in the event, eventually turning Harvick's truck, but it also collected Dillon and points leader Matt Crafton, kind of a weird little deal. After getting rolling again under caution, Harvick sideswiped Dillon's truck to show his displeasure. Well, that prompted Dillon to attempt some payback, with apparently his grandfather and truck owner, Richard Childress, urging him on over the team radio. You said you've listened to the communication. Quick overview of what you heard.
Pretty much, it was, according to Ty, Harvick was cutting him off into the corner. He understands that Harvick's just going for points, but he's going for points too. Harvick's not going for points in a series.
Mm-hmm.
So coming across the radio, the team radio from the man himself, Richard Childress, granddaddy, basically told him a few words I can't say on the
Sure.
air.
Clean it up.
But he said basically in a nutshell, don't take that, just dump him.
Put his butt into the wall.
Yeah, and so he kind of tried to, and it didn't look like he was going to, but in turn, Crafton got into Ty as well, which also helped that whole situation out, and then ended up turning Ty.
Yeah. Well, finally, they separate enough to where they turn down and go down pit road because they both need service done to their trucks. Harvick makes his way with Dillon trailing, but instead of allowing Dillon to pit, Harvick parks in Dillon's pit stall. I understand emotion, but you're asking for it at this point in time, and sure enough, as he yells a few choice words, which we can't say here on this radio station, Dillon's pit crew responds. They yell back, they kind of approach the truck. One of the crew members even tossed a rubber mallet towards the window of Harvick's truck. More on that in a minute. Harvick ended up parking the number 14 truck he was driving behind pit wall instead of trying to continue. Dillon pits. He ends up finishing the race. Harvick's telling reporters, quote, "It's unfortunate you got to be dumped by a guy who you cut slack all day. It's exactly why I'm leaving RCR, because you've got those punk kids coming up." This was heat of the battle. Right after it, emotions are running high. Your thoughts? Did he go too far, knowing he's still got 3 races that he has to run for Richard Childress in the Cup Series?
No, he did not. I want to give, not only because he's my driver, but I want to give him props, because you know what? He finally said what was needed to be said to RCR, to RC, to Ty, to Austin, that guess what? It finally, somebody basically grew some, and finally put it out there, exactly what everybody's been thinking, but everybody's been just so cautious to say, because of course they're worried about the job.
Everyone's been tiptoeing around it.
They've been tiptoeing it. Harvick basically just said, all right, you know what? Punch to the mouth. This is what's going on now.
Childress owns, of course, Harvick's 29 in the Sprint Cup Series for 3 more races, was visibly angry when he talked to reporters, said, "I'm disappointed, very disappointed. That's all I can say. I've got too much class to really say what I want to say right now. When I say it, I will say it to his," Harvick's, "face." Dillon said after the race, quote, "To hit us after the fact and continue to tear up our car, that's just typical Kevin Harvick and pretty much the career at RCR for him." Your response to that?
Ty, let me tell you, buddy, you have not a single clue about anything. You might be up and coming, you might be too cool for school, but Kevin Harvick, if it wasn't for Kevin Harvick at RCR would have gone down after the death of Dale Sr. He stepped in and filled some shoes and kept RCR going. Now, the thing is RC saying that to the reporters, what's kind of funny is what they caught him saying in the pits before he actually got in to talk to the reporters.
Yeah.
I liked that response. I think a little bit more instead of what he actually kind of came across and knew everybody knew what he was going to say.
Right. Dillon, and this kind of the cherry on top of the sundae, if you will, Dillon noted that Harvick left the track before the race ended, and he intimated Harvick was scared to face him, and he said, quote, "I used to look up to that guy."
He wasn't scared. He's probably just scared he's going to hurt the little boy.
Left before he would be charged with something. Let's get back to the track action here. Second to Darrell Wallace Jr., Brendan Gaughan, Jeb Burton third. Good run for the rookie there. Ben Kennedy, Ryan Blaney filling out the top 5, speaking of another rookie. Moonlighter Denny Hamlin trying to get himself back into racing action, but he loves Martinsville. It's close to his house. The 2 tracks that Denny Hamlin loves to run on the most, Martinsville and Richmond, top 6. Not bad. Herman Quiroga Jr., Johnny Sauter, Scott Riggs, and James Butcher make up the top 10. Your points leader, still Matt Crafton. He finished 17th, but he holds a rather commanding 51-point lead over Butcher. Ty Dillon, 61 points down. I'm thinking, and there's a part of me that says that this is effectively over, but you look at it. Camping World Truck Series shadows the Sprint Cup Series for the rest of the season. So they've got 3 more races to go. So they've got this weekend, actually last night, at Texas. They've got next weekend at Phoenix, and they've got the final weekend, the Ford Championship weekend at Miami. So there's still room in there to make up ground. But it's 51 points. Over?
Over.
All over except for the crying.
Matt Crafton has, in my eyes, grabbed this championship for the Camping World Truck Series for this year, for 2013.
Something would have to go colossally wrong.
And that's the thing. It could
Something
go
would have to go
colossally
Elio
wrong
Castroneves wrong.
for the next 3 races.
Right.
For this to happen. But, I mean, you know yourself, everybody out there, all of our fans know, the truck race is a beat-em-up, bang-em-up type of series, but the trucks can take it.
Yeah.
And you can do a lot more with the trucks than you can with the cars for Nationwide and Sprint Cup. So they beat and bang all the time.
That's true.
But Matt Crafton, I say, this year, it's his year, and with a 51-point lead, I don't think it's not even close anymore. They might close it by a few, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to have to finish way back and them have to finish way forward.
All right, well, Ty Dillon, as I said, 61 points down in third. Jeb Burton, 68 behind, but a lock for Rookie of the Year in this series. Johnny Sauter, 82 points out from first and fifth. Then you got Miguel Paludo, Ryan Blaney, Darrell Wallace Jr. in eighth. Brendan Gaughan and Timothy Peters complete the top 10 with those 3 races left. Now, again, the first of those 3, last night's WinStar World Casino 350 at Texas Motor Speedway. We'll give you all the important details next weekend on the show from what happens this weekend. I wanted to make sure that we got the historic win and the details in for Darrell Wallace Jr. because, again, first time in 50 years. And congratulations to Darrell Wallace Jr.
Good job, Bubba.
Later today, Nationwide Series getting back into action. They've taken the past couple of weekends off, but now they're back in action to run out the season as well, shadowing the Sprint Cup Series throughout those 3 races. This weekend, Texas Motor Speedway. Later today, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Challenge, ESPN2 and PRN Radio, giving you all the information. 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Central, next weekend at Phoenix, and then the final weekend of the year, a couple of weeks from now, Ford Championship Weekend at Homestead, Miami. The week after INDYCAR crowned their champion, Formula One did the same thing, but they still have 3 races left on their schedule. I'm going to get back to this conversation in a little bit. Sebastian Vettel had ultimate control over the series, would have needed to finish outside of the top 10 practically to not clinch his 4th title over the weekend. But yet he starts on the pole Sunday morning, so it means everyone else was already at a disadvantage. Like they haven't been in that position all year.
Go figure.
And Vettel led practically wire to wire. In the end, he crosses the finish line. Wait. 30 seconds later, Nico Rosberg finishes in second place. Vettel celebrated the win, his 4th straight championship in NASCAR style. He did donuts on the front straightaway and then, not a good thing, left that car sitting on the front straightaway, climbed over the fence, embraced team members, walked to the security area, did not take his car into the area to be checked by race stewards. That's a big no-no, according to Formula One.
Yes, it is.
How big of a no-no? He ended up being fined $34,500, or the equivalent thereof, for the post-race actions and failure to, quote, proceed directly to the security area without delay.
The guy just won the championship.
Which is probably why he didn't get fined more.
It's like, seriously?
Let him have a little bit of emotion. Let him celebrate a little bit. But he didn't take the car to the people that needed to check it out. They had to go get it.
That's fine. Let them go get it. I mean, that's the thing. You're going to celebrate after you're done. You got to do something. It's not like you're going to go, I won the race, and drive in and then park and go, thank you, see you next year, and then walk away.
That said, he doesn't officially attain the crown. I mean, he's got it, but he doesn't actually get it until the season ends after the Brazil race coming up in mid-November. But it marks Vettel's 4th career and 4th straight championship, which means that he joins a very elite group because only 2 other drivers have done this. Juan Manuel Fangio and Michael Schumacher, legends in this sport, had won 4 consecutive championships until this 26-year-old driver bursts onto the scene. The win marks Vettel's 10th win of the year, including the last 6 in a row. Good night. Following Rosberg, the final podium slot goes to Roman Grosjean, who climbs from 3rd to 3rd from 17th starting position. We've talked about this many, many times in open-wheel racing. To be able to make up spots is real difficult in open-wheel racing, especially in Formula One. To go from 17th to 3rd?
Hey, if the cards fall the right way, your pit stops are good, you might be able to get a little bit of time on track, but not much. We've said it many times. You're going to do it in the pits, that's where it's going to happen at. And
everything came together. And that's Lotus, too, which they've had their problems this year.
Lotus, I tell you what, Lotus has to go from here. I mean, they've taken the bar that was extremely low last year. They have set the bar extremely high. Thing is now they need to consistently do that year after year.
Here's the problem, though. While Felipe Massa finishes 4th, Sergio Perez 5th, and Lewis Hamilton 6th, 7th place is the guy that has really stepped up Lotus's game. Roman Grosjean just kind of came along for the ride, but they're going to lose this guy, Kimi Räikkönen, at the end of this year. He's moving back to Ferrari, where he kind of got his major start in this sport. So it's really imperative that they get the right guy to step into the seat, and
Which
they
they're not
haven't
gonna
figured
have.
it out yet.
They're not going to be able to figure it out. I mean, when you lose somebody at the caliber driver as Kimi Räikkönen has been, especially this year being so solid for them, and then not to have him next season when you need to capitalize off of this year, that is going to not spell disaster for Lotus, but it's that bar I was just talking about. It's a little lower now because they're not going to be able to go above that expectation.
Right. Paul di Resta, nice run for him. Adrian Sutil, Force India showing up. And Daniel Ricciardo, who is about to move from Toro Rosso to the parent company Red Bull, but Toro Rosso has found themselves stepping up here in this year. They fell out the top 10. Fernando Alonso, who was second in points, finished 11th, so he got no championship points. And Vettel means Vettel now holds a 322 to 207 point edge over Alonso. That's the difference between first and second place. Kimi Räikkönen holds 183 points. You got Lewis Hamilton 169. Mark Webber's fifth, 148. Red Bull Racing, by the way, we've talked about how Vettel's got the championship. So does Red Bull Racing. They won the Constructors' Cup officially over the weekend, holding a 470 to 313 point edge over Mercedes. The battle actually there for second. Mercedes only claiming a 4-point edge over Ferrari with 28 points. Lotus down from second place. So we'll see where that goes. Formula One rolling into the Etihad Airways Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It's easy for me to say. 3.3-mile long road course in the middle of the desert. NBC Sports Network shows it live tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central Time on Sunday. The series then begins their swing through the Western Hemisphere for the final two races of 2013. When we come back to open-wheel racing later on in the show, I've got a theory on this, and this may not be a good thing for Formula One. How much time we got in this segment?
We got about 3.5 minutes.
3.5 minutes. We can do that. Let's talk about the Sprint Cup Series, then we'll get to off-the-track news.
Oh.
All right, so Sunday morning Formula One, Sebastian Vettel wins a championship. Red Bull runs, wins a Constructors' Cup. Later Sunday, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series dropped the green flag on the 7th race in the chase for the Sprint Cup Championship. Everybody's concentrating on the battle at the top of the standings. The drivers 3rd, 4th, and 5th, all who are within striking distance of the trophy themselves, largely, we've complained about this, been overlooked by mass media. However, one of those drivers, who already holds 4 championship trophies, has decided to change a little bit, if not all of that. Jeff Gordon took the lead with 21 laps left, passing Matt Kenseth, took the point position, rolls on to the win. That's, strangely enough, his first win in 2013. It's odd to say that about a guy who's won almost 90 races in his career, but this is his first win of the year.
It just goes to show how many of these drivers have stepped up and kind of, he's old school.
Yeah.
Not saying that he's old, but I mean, he is old. In
NASCAR standards, he is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it used to be where you'd hear him winning all the time like Jimmy Johnson now.
Or even go back to Harry Gant.
Yeah, or something along those lines. So, I mean, the thing is for him to get the win, this is one of the tracks you expect him. You expect him to get several of the tracks that NASCAR goes to. You expect Gordon to do well, if not win.
Yeah.
We didn't see him win till late in the year last season at Pocono. And then I think he won one other one last
Miami
year.
Homestead. He won
That's
the season finale.
He won the season finale. So it's starting to, not that it's taken him a while, but it just seems like he's really got to.
It's taken him the better part of a season.
Yeah, to kind of get out of the box and kind of stretch it out.
He's been nipping at it. He's been kind of hinting at it. He's been kind of playing with it. Now he finally grabs it.
Yes.
This marks Gordon's 8th career win at Martinsville, which means he has 8 grandfather clocks, one of the cooler trophies in NASCAR. It ties him for the most among active drivers. Guess who he's tied with? Teammate Jimmy Johnson.
Really?
By the way, Richard Petty holds the most career wins at that short track, 15. Darrell Waltrip claimed 11 in his Hall of Fame career. The win jumps Gordon up to 3rd in the series point standings, by the way. Following Gordon across the finish line, and here's where that chase mentality seems to kick in again. Matt Kenseth 2nd, Clint Boyer 3rd, Brad Keselowski 4th, Jimmy Johnson completing the top 5, Kevin Harvick is 6th, Denny Hamlin, then you got Dale Earnhardt Jr., a chaser, Greg Biffle, a chaser, then you got Jamie McMurray. Your other chase drivers include Carl Edwards in 12th, Joey Logano 14th, Kyle Busch 15th, Kurt Busch 18th, Casey Kane 27th, Ryan Newman, bad race, limped home 38th. So here's your new points. Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson tied, flat-footed tie in top the standings. Tiebreaker, by the way, goes to Matt Kenseth. 27 points on top of Jeff Gordon, 28 up on Kevin Harvick, 36 up on Kyle Busch. These are the only drivers that really do have a realistic chance of winning the championship. Again, they're within that one-race window. But we've got 3 races left. Are we willing to cut one of these drivers loose yet, or are we still going to go with all 5 as having a chance?
As having a chance?
Yes.
I've got to say, I'm still looking at the top 4 right now.
Okay, so you're about ready to cut Kyle Busch loose.
I'm at that point, especially as we approach the next 3 tracks.
Gotcha. Clint Bowyer 6th in points, followed by Dale Earnhardt Jr., Greg Biffle, Kurt Busch, Carl Edwards in 10th. Joey Logano, Ryan Newman, and Casey Kane fill out the rest of the chase field. Jamie McMurray remains in 14th. He's in line for that bonus given to the top finishing non-chase driver. Spring Cup Series rolling into Texas Motor Speedway tomorrow, Sunday, depending on which day you're listening to this. AAA Texas 500. It's going to be shown on ESPN, heard on PRN Radio beginning at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Time. You'll hear it right here on Superstation 101 WYDE. When we come back, we've talked about a driver championship and a constructor's cup. We've got one more title that we're going to hand out. We'll talk about that, and we'll get a little bit more into the Kevin Harvick, Richard Childress, Ty Dillon thing when we come back on the Fastest Hour in Radio.
You're listening to the Fastest Hour in Radio on Superstation 101.